So, boys, we've arrived in Galar. Any success with Stonehenge Man, Marky?
I'm eating wine gums at the moment, and
is that a Galar Pokemon?
It might be an evolved form of Gelamite or something. I don't know, Gelatinite or Gelamon. That's from the UK, isn't it? Ian, you agree? Gelamon, is it, or is it?
You lost me. That was way too random.
They're a confectionery, if that's a...
You flaming Galars. I've got coffee, Mon. I've got a nice mug of coffee. So, yeah, I'm enjoying being in Galar. Yeah, flaming
that
Galars.
Works. It's kind of Sinus tea, but... Sinus coffee.
It's good, isn't it? It's ours. It's our gen. Hope that we can make this a successful season, and the Pokemon Go United Kingdom account gets fully behind it, like it seems to be doing at the moment. So,
yes.
Has the Pokemon Go UK account done anything?
It's made a couple of posts.
They posted Stonehenge, man.
Yeah, Stonehenge, but it's a big thing.
I looked at the Pokemon Go UK X account, and they are the least active of all of the different accounts. There was literally nothing posted for community whatsoever, yet all of the other sites...
So they didn't pick up our post?
No, well, we didn't expect them to, did we? Let's face it.
Come on,
man.
Represent.
Flaming Galars.
Royal Britannia. And all that.
But they've got a time to shine, because at the moment they're saving their energy for Galar, aren't they? Yeah, the goat knows.
The Galar goat.
The Galar goat knows. Talk about goats, I was going to say, I love a goat energy drink. What do you boys think? Goat energy drink? Funky goat? Get some funky goat in us?
Funky goat?
Yeah. Do you have some over the weekend?
I'm not really an energy drink person, but at least with the goat energy drinks, it is something that I can drink without fully tasting like battery acid.
I can fully drink this without being sick. That's a good start.
That's a good start for me, because as I say, don't do energy drinks, but at least the goat energy drinks that we were sent as samples, very drinkable.
Oh, they absolutely are. They are absolutely. And I think the variety of flavours that you can get from them now, it looks like they're getting bigger and bigger. But you're right, energy drinks, old energy drinks have got a horrible taste, haven't they? And I know the one you mean. It's just
all energy drinks, full stop.
Yeah, but it brings back memories when I used to have Red Bull and, anyway, insert alcoholic drink there.
Shan't go further on that.
Yeah, I do fancy trying that new Groovy Goat, though, boys. So send us some mango samples, please. We'll what's that? Groovy.
Groovy, baby.
That was
very Austin Powers. Jinx.
Jinx. Smoochums. Well, Austin Powers is very Galar, isn't he? He's
about the most Galar man you could find.
Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the waves.
It'd be a true Galar season if the national anthem for the UK was just playing in the background for the entire season of the game.
That would be amazing.
That would be OTT.
I think there'd be other generations claiming favouritism if they did that for the for the United Kingdom.
On this week's show, the Pokemon Go tour of the UK continues as we hit yet another town. Is it a town? I don't know. But another location in the UK. We have another guest from Florida. And are we actually going to pay for the bounty? Welcome back to the Incensed podcast. This is episode 187. I'm Ian Waterfall. Along with me this week, we have Pogo Miley UK and Masterful27. Boys, how are we doing?
We're good. And yeah, I wouldn't call a certain set of rocks a town.
It's not a town, it's near a town, isn't it?
It's not really near anything, to be honest.
No, it's nowhere near anything, actually. I drive past it many a time, and it's not near anything.
As Mark knows, it's his regional area there. So, yeah.
Well, every time I see this place, I always think of This Is Spinal Tap. No spoilers, but actually, by now, you may have seen at least one of the videos, possibly two of the videos that have gone up on YouTube. But we are talking about Stonehenge, where, boys, we went to yesterday.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get the memo. I went somewhere else.
I was in Avebury. You guys didn't respond to me in the group. What do you mean, Stonehenge?
I don't know. You can say that. You never reply in the group.
I did reply in the group, and no one responded in the group. Hence, I've just said that then. But anyway, moving on, Ian. What's this bounty reference anyway? Unless I've been under a rock, excuse the pun, for the last half a century. What's this bounty reference, and what aren't we paying for?
Well, we're going to be talking about it in the news, but there is a bounty ticket which will give you daily Pokécoins.
Yes, but before we dive into that treasure trove of probably awful news, as Ian alluded to, we have a brand new guest joining us for this week's show, and it's a big one. This guy is ruthlessly consistent when it comes to the YouTube game, and my God, he puts all of us to shame. He is on the live streams, he is on every event, and he seems to get almost everything. In fact, we may hear some horror stories later when it comes to the news section, but it is an enormous pleasure to finally welcome to the Incensed podcast Tony TM Pokémon, all the way from Florida. Dude, a big applause. There we go.
Hey, we love it.
Welcome to the Incensed podcast, bro. How are you doing?
Doing great, just having a good time, just shiny hunting, and then on the side, just, doing my thing.
With this extensively loud applause that's going on.
Yeah, we love the applause, though.
That's a short one? It's going to trail off soon.
Well, no, I can put it back on. Still running. I just muted it.
We'll just
some more applause. I love it.
taper it out so we can actually hear ourselves think. But it's been a long time cooking up this one, actually, with all the live events that you've been to. We've been to as well this year. It was about time we got you on the show, to be fair.
It's about time, yeah. I mean, it's been a busy year, that's for sure. Then just, I saw some of you guys in New York and all that stuff, and just, definitely had to make this a pit stop at some point, right?
Welcome to the show. It's awesome. And we're going to dive into getting to know you better. We might be lighting a certain barbecue, which seems a bit right since recording this on Labor Day
Yeah,
for the American listeners.
May or may not have a burger or two later.
Give us some ASMR if you do on the show. That'd be glorious.
Sounds good.
Yes, Tony, have a burger for us. But everyone that's listening, it is time for you too.
Oi, you dirty dogs, drop your incense.
That's right. And when you get something nice and tasty, nice and juicy, just like that burger Tony's going to be eating later, post it on socials using the hashtag Shine of the Week on X, Instagram, or Threads.
I'm sorry, could you clarify the spelling? Ian didn't get that.
That's hashtag SHINIESOFTHEWEEK. And now, let's go to the results of our poll.
It's falling early. What a surprise.
Yeah, this is very different for the listeners and very different for us as well. The poll results are coming first. Listen later to find out who suggested which answer from this lot. But the question that we ask later in the show is, if you could view the world in a certain photographic, cinematic, or visual style /theme/format, what would you choose? And why? Well, the results are in.
Dun, dun, dun.
You'll find out who said what later. But in fourth place with 13% of the vote, we've got 65mm film stock. In third place with 16% of the vote, condensed mockumentary.
Ooh.
With 31% of the vote in second, we've got high dynamic range. That's HDR for you people that love an acronym out there. And the winner, and again, you'll find out later who suggested this answer, but with 41% of the vote and the winner, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And thanks to 32 people that voted, we do have 2 or 3 of our people that have commented on the poll asking for their options. And Sue Hermiston just put, I'd love to see the world in Wizard of Oz type Technicolor, bright, cheerful colours as far as the eye can see, with
Definitely.
loads of lovely, colourful hearts.
Fabulous.
So love that. Thomas has responded at 96_Tom L. I see the world in black and white. That's a polar opposite, isn't it? For
Classic.
starters. But seeing that in HDR would be dope. So Thomas certainly knows what the acronym HDR stands for.
Good.
And Mark Bailey has jumped in. I think it'd be quite fitting to live viewing everything in a sepia tone or monochromatic, but I do try and have #fun, so I went with a mockumentary format. Laughy face. But like we said, you will find out who said what in later in the show and see which of us came up with the most popular answer. There we go.
Ooh.
Cliffhanger.
That poll might have been somewhat predictable. But when it comes to a fresh guest face on the show, there is something else that is very predictable. We are going to light up the grill because it's time to get to know our guest a lot better. We've got to change that. That's the weakest jingle.
That's the best jingle.
It's terrible.
It's just a little.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's classic.
the least enthusiastic fanfare.
How about this
which
for
is
a new jingle for Grill the Guest?
I prefer that. Listeners, let us know what you think. Maybe time for an update. But of course, Grill the Guest, we're going to get to know Tony TM a hell of a lot better. And hopefully, if anybody doesn't know who he is, who's listening to the show, you'll be able to find him with the links at the tail end of this episode. But I'll kick things off by, basically saying, tell us a little bit about yourself, sort of where you're from, what you kind of do and everything. Basically like just an introduction.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, I grew up in Florida. I was born in Pennsylvania, moved down to Florida because it was too cold, and then ended up actually, funny enough, moving back to Pennsylvania, but just always lived in Florida, just been, I don't know, just always doing my thing. I've always kept myself busy. So like I have ADHD, so I've always just kept myself busy. It was either sports, gaming, being outside. Like my mom used to like time our gaming time. So we would have to be outside, and I kind of like hacked that by playing Pokemon Go, getting gaming and outside at the same time. So
that was a good strat.
Yeah, I got both at the same time. And that's really what got me back into Pokemon, is I took like a little bit of a break from when I was a kid into like high school and stuff. Always doing my thing, always busy. Just started YouTube a couple years ago, and then just been just trying to be as consistent as possible since then.
I think consistency might be your middle name.
Yeah,
having seen how things are going.
Yeah. Speaking of the YouTube thing, Tony,
yeah,
talk to us about the inspiration for getting into YouTube, because you literally, as Milo alluded to, you are all over it. You're live streaming every day. You're making videos every day. The constant content is churning out. Talk to us about the inspirations behind that.
Actually, funny enough, I was too nervous to go in front of the camera at first. So I started as a pack opening channel, opening packs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what, like, I played Pokemon Go, but I just didn't have the confidence to create a vlog for it yet. And I was just like, this is the easiest segue into making Pokemon content, as something I've always wanted to try. And I've always wanted to try to make content. I just kind of pushed it off because I was too nervous in front of the camera. And then I got to the point where I opened packs on video and stuff with my fiance. And then she's like, you might as well just try a vlog. You play Pokemon Go anyways. You're always outside, so you might as well do something with it. And ended up fully just making Pokemon Go videos, made my first vlog. And then it's just really been up from there, like in terms of just like consistency, everything. It just fell in love with it, really.
That transition is quite an interesting one, because like I could ask you a real basic question and say, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to go from sort of part-time content creation into full-time content creation, what that transition looks like? But I think, like you said, then it's been just, you had an interest in it very early and you've sort of taken it on. And then, like you say, you've tweaked it a little bit and got into the Pokemon Go, which, as you said, has its exercise. It's a great cop out, mate. I love that, and it's worked quite well.
I'm always working out anyways, and always doing all this stuff anyways. I'm always walking, like it's always been my thing. So being able to walk around, do all this stuff, it was just a great, easy transition for me. Like I've always loved Pokemon. Being able to play Pokemon Go and then being able to make videos on it just seemed like the dream pair. Then I started streaming, and then just went on from there.
Going back to the point you made at the beginning, you've been doing YouTube for 2 years, yeah?
No, 4 years actually.
4 years, sorry.
3 years of Pokemon Go.
But 3 years of Pokemon Go. That is fantastic growth on your channel, mate, and you should be absolutely saluted for that. What would you say are if you could just say a couple of things other than the dedication to it? Yeah. What two things on that journey have really seen you accelerate the most, would you say?
So I'd say the number one thing is I always try my best to always make sure that everybody's part of the channel in terms of like always bringing people in. So like streams, shorts, responding to comments. I feel like that kind of stuff, like building a community, is pretty important. Like at least streams, I think, was the number one thing that helped skyrocket my channel, build it to what it is today. Because I consistently, I've had people, come into the stream like, you're still streaming, or like, you're back streaming again. It's just like, there's always something there for them, So like in the last year, I've kind of committed to streaming 3 hours almost a day at this point, which is pretty insane. So it's just like constant content flow is good, but I guess a good way, at least when I first started the channel as well, just being able to make videos that people can relate to, have just little fun moments in there. And I think like, as a content creator, starting off is the most important thing. Like the hardest thing is those first, let's say like 100,000 subs, like all that kind of stuff. So I'd say number one for me is just believe in yourself. Like, it's kind of a cliche, but it's just like, believe that you're making the best content you can. And then for me, it was just like stacking stream, shorts, videos, just constant flow of content, which is hard to keep up, but like that, I guess that's the way that I did it. But I think just consistency, at least like a video a week, you know, that kind of stuff is always very, very important.
Definitely. And your streams are consistent and always going. It's always somewhere in the feeds. He's live again. Oh my goodness me.
Yeah, I get that message a lot.
Yeah. There's a reason why. But when it comes to the journey through doing your content, it can be interesting, the twists and tales along the way. But how did you find yourself getting going with opening packs and things like that? Like, have you got a bit of background in, you know, working with cameras, or, you know, where have you sort of developed that thing of like, right, content creation, I can kind of work with this?
Yeah. So like I said, like ever since I was like a kid, I guess I always watched YouTube, right? So like, it was always like, I want to do content, but I don't know what I want to do it on. I used to play like a lot of FIFA and I guess EAFC now, but like sporting games and stuff like that. It was always like, I want to make content, but I don't know what. And then Pokemon kind of just came back into my life, and I was just like, man, like this is like the perfect thing. I love Pokemon. I've always wanted to make content. I might as well try. You know, I tried like a bunch of different things. I tried pack openings. I tried Scarlet and Violet. I tried Go. I tried making even Fakemon at one point. Like, it was just, I did everything I could. And, you know, one thing stuck, and it was like just something I went with. And, I mean, it's been a blessing every single day. So
you've actually, well, we've seen you this year. You've made the rounds of the live events. We saw you, I believe, in Madrid and New York this year. Travel-wise, what are your ambitions? Obviously, live events are a given, but what are the places that you'd like to visit to, well, just to see or create content in and around Pokemon Go?
So traveling kind of, I guess, is like something that I never thought I'd be able to do with Pokemon Go this early on. So, I mean, I was blessed to luckily have to not pay for any travel to go to New York 2 years in a row, because I have my dad over in New York. So, you know, it was like right there.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, that's good.
Just no fees for hotels, no flights. I had to drive up, but that's fine. Like from Pennsylvania at the time, I'll have to fly up now. Actually, funny enough that you mentioned that, I'm actually going to be traveling both to Jakarta and South Korea, which is super, super exciting.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so both the Safari Zones. So that was something that kind of just happened recently, which I'm just super, like, I literally just booked it last weekend. So it was a super, super cool thing. So those are both places I never thought I would be going to, right? So traveling, my plan is to try to get to, quote unquote, as many live events as I can, but obviously can't make it to every single one. But that Wilds event, that's, you know, we have no clue about right now. I would love to go there, but it's kind of just like convincing my fiance at this point because she's like, you're traveling so much. She came with me to Spain, but like certain stuff, like, you know, it's just like convincing her more than actually making the trip.
I get that.
Yeah.
So of the two Go Fest that you did then, did you prefer the Madrid one or the New York Mob 2?
So I preferred the New York one because the spawns are better, but man, it was humid and hot in New York. I'd say the weather was better in Madrid, much better. It was like one of the mornings in Madrid, it was like 55, 60 degrees. In New York, every day it was 90 plus. It was just like, especially in a city like that, it's like very muggy. Very muggy.
Sweatbox.
Yeah.
Tony, away from Pokemon Go, you just said a little bit about you normally working out, doing stuff like that. When you have got time outside of doing what you do, what does Tony enjoy doing outside of that?
So with like how much I stream and how much I record videos and stuff, I have like limited time. So I'm very on top of like my schedule outside. So obviously make time for my fiance, my dogs and stuff, but I tend to go to the gym at least 5 times a week. Me and my fiance tend to do that together. We just go to the gym. We have a small gym here right down the road. So we just go there, and it's just a nice thing to just get out, make sure we're working out, staying fit, all that kind of stuff. And then every day we go on walks with the dogs, which is nice, you know, a little nice dog walk through the city and all that. And yeah, especially since moving to Orlando, there's a lot more to like physically do. So like Disney parks, like all that kind of stuff is always really nice to do. I'm just kind of just in the moment kind of person. Like if something comes up, you're like, you want to do this? It's like, you know what? I have time. Let's go do it. But it kind of all revolves around like my what's it called? My stream schedule and everything. It's just like, I'm very on top of it. It's like, oh, I'm streaming 3 hours, so I have to move this over here, move that over there, and then just find time for everything.
That was going to be my next question, just about the content and the schedule and how rigorously that is sort of planned. So I assume that's the forefront of basically your daily schedule, and whatever you do is like, right, I'm streaming or I'm videoing, I'm filming, editing, etc. Content's the priority, 100%.
Yeah, it's content. And like on the even scales, my dogs and my fiance, like it's just like those are the two biggest things in my schedule. And if I'm able to fit anything else in, then I fit stuff in, right? So like it's kind of just like I wake up, I walk the dogs, I eat, and then boom, it's out. Either going record a video, streaming, getting home, eating, relaxing, working out, and then editing, and then on to the next day.
It's ruthless.
Yeah,
It's
rigorous
ruthless having to do
schedule.
it. That's for sure. What do you prefer doing? Do you prefer vlogging and then editing, or do you prefer just stream, go out there for a couple of hours and have a hangout with the chat?
That's actually a good question because I get asked this probably the most out of anybody. Even my like family, they're like, "So which one do you prefer?" I'm like,
Yeah,
I love both. I watch like podcasts and stuff when I'm out on my grind. So like it's nice to just be able to only have to worry about recording the video and not streaming. But I think streaming is just really cool when you're just able to interact with so many people so much. So I'd say I probably enjoy the streaming more. It's also a lot easier to edit sometimes. A little bit of a life hack. Grab the highlights and put it in there. But overall, I think I prefer the streaming because of the community aspect, but I still know the importance of like recording a video and the positives. Like I love like a fun video idea is always really fun. So like we went to Gatorland, which is like
I love that place.
Full of alligators. So we went there. I recorded a challenge where I can't leave until I get a shiny, and I'm just like mixing both together. Like having that kind of thing. It's always fun seeing like people's reaction, right? All that kind of stuff.
So my question is, in your videos especially, I haven't really spent too much time on the live stream, but on the videos especially, you have so much energy and probably talk, I would say, 2 times the speed you do in real life. How do you keep that constant energy going when you're making your videos? Or is it just short bursts and then edited really sort of together tightly?
or a lot of coffee.
All of the coffee,
It's funny because like people always ask me how much, like if I drink any energy drinks or coffee. I kind of talk too fast. It's kind of just always been my thing because I talk a lot. But I actually don't take any caffeine. Like I don't drink any coffee, any energy drinks. It's just like pure ADHD.
Like, raw energy.
In high school, I got labeled as like the ADHD kid because I just had too much energy. Like I'd be sitting in my chair, like moving up and down. Like it's just, I have too much energy that I could do with. So I just kind of just try my best to expend all of it like as fast as possible. And videos are the best way to do that.
Gotcha.
Tony, imagine the world. So tomorrow, Wizards Unite server message comes across for Pokemon Go. Galar region just didn't pay off. Everyone's revolted and annoyed because we got the Stonehenge one, and Niantic have lost all their income on the game. What does Tony TM do on that day? Where do you go, mate?
So I have a degree in like nutrition and stuff. So I'd probably just go and apply for personal trainer jobs. That'd probably be my first step. Just like go to the gym. I used to work as a personal trainer, but too much time into the content. So I, took time off of that. But like I could technically like, I guess, apply for those kind of jobs or a lot of stuff around here. So that'd probably be the number one plan if Pokemon Go goes, kaboosh and all that.
We hope it doesn't, obviously, but
obviously.
I think that's a nicer question to ask than what did you do before you did it? Because I think looking forward's more important. You've got to ride this. I keep seeing a lot of comments about this infinity loop. You've got to stay on the infinity loop for as long as you can, Tony, when it's there.
It's a good analogy.
This infinity loop. I want to see a video, Tony, if you're on the infinity loop next time.
Exactly, right.
I can't leave it until I catch a shiny.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I get a lot of questions about my age sometimes because people think I'm a little bit older or a little bit, I don't know how old people think I am, but I'm 23, right? So I'm still pretty young. I just fresh out of college. So
to be fair, I said to him before you jumped onto, I said, he does look like he's in his early 30s. Wow, 23.
23. Yeah. So I literally like the only jobs I've ever had is content creation. I worked at the gym for a little bit, and then I worked at what's it called? Yes, I will not JT. No,
he knows where you live.
Yeah. I've only worked 3 jobs in my life. It's at the gym, at a Panda Express, and content creation. So
Chinese
fair play.
3 jobs.
Sometimes it's easy to lose sight on things when you say it like that, mate. Because I didn't realise you're only 23. When I was 23, I probably only had a couple of jobs as well. So it's. Do you remember those days, Ian? I can't remember those days.
23 is like half my life ago.
It's crazy.
Distant memory for Vasa.
And me.
That's a crazy sentence from Sue. I'm younger than their son. That's crazy.
He's younger than my son. Oh my goodness me. I do think Mark's statement about looking forward is always very important, particularly with what content creation brings as a profession. So safari zones and city safaris that are coming up real soon are they're on the horizon. But when it comes to regular content, have you got anything in the pipeline that you're planning, or are you going to kind of stick on the stream 3 hours or longer and stick with the videos? Have you got any challenges up in the works?
I think like in the future, I'll probably try to keep doing different challenges. Like I eventually want to try to go to like all the parks here in Orlando, record challenges where I can't leave until then, a certain time until it's shiny or something. I think the future, like maybe create like a second channel of some sorts or, all that kind of stuff is probably like in the idea, but I want to make sure we're like with my channel, I want to just don't break what's not broken, don't fix what's not broken. Like I love like what I do. It's like, I feel like my schedule in each day is pretty good. So I'll keep doing what I'm doing until something proves that it's not as good. And then we figure it out from there.
So away from content, I'm going to ask you, I know you don't have an awful lot of time. You said that, and believe me, we're all in the same boat. What was the last movie or Netflix show that you watched?
So my fiance is a big Netflix person. She watches like all the shows, and I like kind of watch like while I'm editing, I'll watch like I'll watch it while she's watching. It's just in the background. So technically I've watched those, but the latest movie I've watched is Deadpool Wolverine.
That's amazing, isn't it? That's so good.
That movie was so good. I watched it the day it came out because I knew I did not want to be spoiled. It was just like, it was even the day we moved into Orlando. We dropped the stuff off, the dog bed and stuff like that, and the mattress, like the room bed, and then we would watch
straight out the door.
Don't blame me. It's a great movie. I love that film.
10 out of 10. I love it.
I think the success of Netflix is absolutely phenomenal, isn't it, really, when you think about its journey? It's just a staple part of most people's life, isn't it, now?
I think it's just had such an impact on like everything. Everybody that watches anything movie, TV show wise, I mean, Netflix is like almost number one that comes to mind.
Sticking on the movie theme, because movies do tell a lot about someone away from everything else that we talk about. Who'd play you then, Tony? Young you, current you in a movie? Or have you got someone maybe in the future that might be well moulded for your sort of characters? Anyone you can think of?
That's a crazy question. Who would play me in a movie? When I was younger, my hair and like everything looked a lot like really young Zac Efron. It was funny because like I went through a phase where I quote unquote looked like him, and then he got buff, and then I got buffer. Like, so it was just like,
he went buffer,
right? And I was just like, well, I guess I'm just doing Zac Efron. I'm just gonna be Zac Efron here, which is great. So like a younger Zac Efron would probably be the person I'd pick. Like High School Musical day, Zac Efron. pre him getting buff, I guess.
Is it what was it, Baywatch or something?
Yeah. Baywatch, he got pretty big, pretty fast.
Now, when you're doing your vlogs, you mentioned you sort of maybe listen to some music or podcasts. What sort of stuff do you listen to keep your ears entertained? You into sports podcasts, crime podcasts, or particular type of music? What keeps you occupied, I guess, audibly?
Yeah, so I kind of mix it up per on the day. I listen to a lot of sports podcasts. I'm a big fan of like the NFL. So like I watch everything with that, like anything. I'm a Steelers fan, so anything Steelers, we watch that. But I have like a couple shows that I watch, kind of keep tabs on those, but I also just watch, other Pokemon Go videos. So like, I'll throw on JT's videos sometimes, your videos, I'll throw on in there, or I'll throw on just like other Pokemon YouTubers like Nintendo and stuff like that, kind of stuff. Yeah. 30 minutes. Sometimes those are videos, plenty entertainment. And I'll just be watching that while, walking, just having something on is basically like how I go by my day. Just like grind and have something on. It's either sports or Pokemon. It's one of the two.
Yeah. It's always nice to have something in the background. I have that while I'm editing as well.
Yeah.
We editing the podcast. Some things, Clarkson's Farm is in the background.
Even if I'm not watching the video, it's there.
Exactly. It's nice to just have something in the background.
It makes you feel like you're not alone.
Yeah.
So away from podcasts, because you didn't mention Incensed as a listen, what's on your music playlist at the moment?
Oh yeah, sorry. The music playlist, I listen to a lot of different genres of music, MGK, like Drake, and like rap style music is kind of my thing, but I can also go into like alternative rock and that kind of stuff. I kind of like mesh between like different music styles, but pop sometimes even. It just depends on the mood of the day.
Mm-hmm.
A good song can like make change your mood, so it's always nice to just turn it on.
Yeah,
as long as you don't go Little Mix, Tony, I think we'll hold you in the high respect that we do so far, sir. I don't know about you, but I tend to find something that I've already watched in details easy to have in the background, so I don't have to give it that attention. And when you do look away for those 5 minutes or so, you can just connect to it again. Yeah, that's funny, right back to it and all that.
There's times where I have something on, I'm like, oh, wait, I have a video on. Like, I gotta go back 5 minutes. Or,
I remember
like,
this
if
bit.
It's what I want to watch. Yeah.
Same here, yeah. I'll tell you a little story about how I got to watch your content. Milo mentioned, he said, Tony TM, we're going to get him on the show. And I went, Tony? I don't know who Tony TM is. And then Miley went, it's this guy. The guy who does all the daily vlogs. Tony, and he showed it, and I was like, and I hadn't connected with the name and that, and I have a lot of admiration for someone who can do the daily grind. Oh, goodness gracious, I know people can maybe do it for 2 or 3 months, but to do it continually for so long, I think that's fascinating.
2 years.
2 years, 2 years strong.
Wild.
2 years strong, mate. 2 years strong.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I just want to say, it's not a question. I just want to say, well done, mate. When we started doing the podcast 3 years ago, and we take a bit of pride by being consistent every week in podcast land. It's the equivalent of daily uploads in content land. It's like, it's very easy not to keep doing it. It's very easy to take that step away. And I think, off the back of that, Tony, well done, mate. Really think it's a massive achievement. Keep doing what you do. Keep being you. Don't change, mate, because it's obviously working and you're being true to you. But is this your first podcast you've been on?
Yes, actually, it has.
Hey.
So it's the first
Podcast
one.
cherry.
Right.
I was trying to think of a clever segue, but I can't think of one. So we'll just throw this question out before Marky asks his kind of traditional one. You've developed a sort of style which it seems very enthusiastically intense, particularly when it comes across in the videos, shall we say. The live streams obviously convey a real life kind of time frame. Videos, you chop and edit everything together. It comes across in a very, very intense but enthusiastic way, which I think is great. That plays very well with the YouTube format. When did you start to notice that was the way you were going with your style? Because it takes a while for people to find their sort of niche, as it were. So how does it feel having, I don't know, where you started, or did you find yourself going into that vibe straight away?
I think it was just a day that it, like, once I felt like fully confident in front of the camera, I think it just clicked to where just like my personality linked with my content more, like, because like off camera, I'm a pretty energetic person most of the time, like I'm just always moving, always doing stuff, and just like I like to have a schedule. So like once it finally clicked, like where I was like confident enough in front of the camera, it just like boom, instantly turned into that. Once I started those daily videos, I think it was just like, well, this is my content, so I want to put it perfectly with my personality, and rather than being something that I'm not, it's just easier that way.
It shows if you're being fake as well, so the fact that you're true to your personality really does come through.
That's why I think that's why it works. Definitely.
Yeah. So we love it. We love it. Just to make sure everything.
TM Pokémon, Tony TM Pokémon. The TM, is that just your name, or does it have some other meaning?
It's just initials, because I was going to be TM Pokémon, and then you look up TM Pokémon, you see TM. So Tony TM Pokémon. That was literally the reason of the name. I was just like, TM Pokémon works, and I'm just like, but I got to like put the Tony, because or else I'm never going to be seen. Because I would test it by looking up TM Pokémon. Like, my channel didn't pop up because all these TMs were popping up. So I put Tony in front of it. Worked out.
Nice.
Gotcha.
I thought that's exactly what I was going to say, Sue. I thought it was Tony trademark Pokemon as well.
I love that.
You can still claim that.
Right?
Absolutely.
Can you trademark a name?
Well, we're gonna
maybe.
So Tony, we're going to wrap the questions up. The grill is going to reduce in intensity now, my friend. It's a fun little question that I asked at the very early days, guests that we've had on the show. Depending on how the conversation's gone, I'll try and mould it a little bit. So Tony, well, every day you're flipping creating content now, so it doesn't matter. Of course, you just finished your 7th day in a row. Any day. So it's any day. You've taken the doggo for a walk. You've had a workout at the gym with your better half, and you've got an invitation to go out to somewhere completely random. Could be a Marlins game, but it's going to be fun, mate. You've been invited, but you don't quite know what's going on, but it could go crazy. But you're not going solo. This isn't time for a human or an animal. This is time for a Pokemon. Is it an animal? No, sorry, it's a fictional creature. You can bring a Pokemon along with you as your Pokemon wingman, wing person, wing whatever you want to call it. So, Tony, my question to you is, which Pokemon will you be bringing? And more importantly, why?
Darkrai. 100% Darkrai. Easy answer for me. I just have to go with Darkrai. So specifically, people always ask me why I love Darkrai so much. First of all, it's Darkrai. It looks absolutely amazing.
That's awesome.
Right. Just a cool looking Pokemon, which I'm still so mad we can't trade them in Pokemon Go because I really want to shun them. But I'd say the reason why I love Darkrai so much is specifically the Rise of Darkrai movie. The movie, that specific movie where he just like basically solos both Dialga and Palkia like for half of the movie. That's an absolute like savage of a Pokemon. I love it. Like he's just being crazy. So I just loved watching him like zoom around, and then like he had like that personal side that like, you know, he's like putting on this tough front, and then he's just like also like sensitive, right? So like I thought that was like a pretty cool thing where he's like really fighting for the city rather than like for himself, which I thought was super cool. So I just fell in love with Darkrai and then never looked back.
That's a fantastic
I
choice.
think that's the first time we've heard Darkrai used, that's for sure.
Oh, really?
I like that choice.
I do as well.
I got Darkrai, I got the mat here, I got everything Darkrai.
Oh, goodness me. So all the Darkrai merch. There we go.
Yeah. And then I got a Cresselia in Darkrai painting too.
I'm so pleased you didn't pick Cresselia. We would have been having words with you, mate. But I'm so pleased you did. I didn't see a little Pikachu come out yet.
The exact opposite.
No, we'll go with that one. That's a good answer. And before we move on with the show, thank you very much, Tony, for answering those questions. And I'm sure we'll throw the odd question at you for the rest of the show, but we know you a little better now. But before we move into the news, it is time just to thank each and every one of you that are listening, especially our amazing Patreon supporters. Whether you support on the bronze or silver tiers, we thank you and we very much appreciate it. Our gold members, we definitely need to and want to thank by name, because you guys really make it so that we can put this show together and give it that extra spit and polish that makes Incensed Podcast what it currently is. And our gold members...
You threw me off with... It's Ian and Milo use the spit and polish on this show. That's just terrible.
You're the spit and the polish.
Jesus Christ.
Was it Milo Hoctor?
Spit on that thing.
But we do want to thank our gold tier members and those of you that support us on that top tier, and most of whom are watching tonight are Rope Asylum, Mr. Mossum, Mandycroft, Highbone, Barside 2, Mufti, Apex 171, Connolly, Kerry and Zachary, Darby Ross, Clifford, Mert and JB. And we couldn't move on with the rest of the show without thanking our backstage team who do everything that essentially we don't. And those are our admins, I Am Pyrus and the amazing Hermes Ninja. Thank you guys. You make our life so much easier. We appreciate you too.
And it'll be funny, Ian, like you've two over said that you do the spit and the polish. That doesn't leave a lot left of you two are happy to do that.
I don't want to think about the analogy you would come up for the rest of the stuff that gets done for the show. So I think there's only one thing we can do now, which is swiftly move it on and back to Pokemon Go in.
It is the news.
What the hell was that?
That's great.
That's an Irish person singing the news jingle.
That's brilliant.
Thanks, Alex, for that. By the way,
Tony, you're going to be on a future Jingle Sunshine. You just wait.
yeah, you're not safe. We will get you to do
Definitely not
sound
safe.
bites at the end of the show. We want your voice
Okay.
immortalized
Sounds
on
good.
this show.
And what's on the news? We got ourselves our first thing, which is this Pokécoin Bounty. And don't worry, you don't have to hunt any Pokécoins. You get them by purchasing this ticket, which is available on Tuesday, September 3rd until
I choose
October
you.
2nd.
100
Yeah,
coin
you
bundle.
Exactly. I choose you bundle, and you can also be gifted to you, which is nice. You know, people could gift it to you.
Lovely.
You could gift it to some friends, and for your free-to-play friends, if you want to be a little bit nice, it's a $5 thing. You know, you get 20 you get Pokecoins per day. Part 1 is available until September 10th, officially available with the new season, September 3rd. So you could go ahead and pick it up.
You'd expect ticket bonuses, but the ticket bonuses that go with this are daily bonus field research tasks for award 20 bonus Pokecoins. Now, I love this. There's one asterisk, and then there's 2 asterisk points. But this one has got all 3 of the asterisk points next to it. So
Nice.
to obtain bonus field research tasks, you must have 3 or fewer active field research tasks when you log on for the first time each day. And trainers who purchase a Daily Pokécoin Bounty Part 1 ticket after September the 3rd can obtain the daily bonus field research beginning the following day. If you buy it on the 3rd, you can start getting them on the 4th, I think is what they're basically saying.
Basically, yes.
You buy
Yeah.
it
Get it the day
before
you
it
buy it.
starts. Yeah, you can get it on the first day of it. So the ticket bonuses also include 3 times XP for the first catch and first spin of that day. You can open up to, you can pay for the privilege of opening more gifts. Lucky you.
Yeah, we've been asking for this for ages, haven't we? We have been asking for this again.
Ask
Coins
for it
is
and you
for friends.
Ask for it and you
pay
can buy
for
it.
it. Yeah. So you can open up, or don't give them ideas. You can open up to 50 gifts per day. You can collect up to 100. Oh, this sounds like torture. You can collect up to 150 gifts per day from Pokestops and gyms. And you can hold up to 40 gifts at a time in your item bag, which, to be fair, you need that. Certainly with that
should
increased
just be a
flexibility.
permanent feature.
Shouldn't it?
Really should.
And just like for cool Pokestops for gifts, like I hold Pokestops, for example, if I go to like any new city and stuff, I love to hold Pokestops. That's an amazing thing for me.
Definitely.
That's it. I find myself pinning so many things.
I do
these days.
I think there's only like us that have actually bought pages in the postcard book, I'm sure, but
Shh.
I know, sorry.
Yes, and that's where the Pokecoins from this ticket will go. Clearly. So I guess the only thing to say is before you close the game for the final time on a day, delete your field research tasks so you don't miss a slot.
Yeah, because if you miss it, you're not going to get it back and you're going to miss out on those coins.
We had something similar to this, what was it, a couple of months ago or so. And yeah, there was that thing of if you don't have research task space, you won't get the tasks to get the Pokecoins, which is pretty dumb when you've paid for them. Anyway, the timed research for this Pokecoin Bounty Part 1. So you can complete the timed research to receive the following: 200 bonus Pokecoins, 15,000 XP, and 15,000 Stardust. And that timed research, yes, timed, will be available and you must claim it before October the 2nd, 2024 at 11:59 p.m. and possibly 59 seconds as well, before the day ticks over.
Indeed.
That sigh says a lot.
Now, moving on to the web store bundle. Now, this gives a lot away in that if you buy the box from the web store, it includes all 3 daily Pokécoin bounty tickets for $14.99 US or your local currency equivalent, which basically means they're going to be dropping these $5 tickets every month up until December. You can actually buy it in bulk from the web store, $15. It's going to cost you the same price, but you will get an additional 100 bonus Pokecoins at no additional cost, which is, they're giving you like, what, $2 worth of free coins? Oh, no, it was like, what's 100 Pokecoins? Like 100, it's about $1, isn't it?
It's about
$0.99. Yeah.
79p.
Yeah. Yep. As with all purchases from web store, tickets are non-refundable, and the daily Pokecoin Bounty Ultra ticket, as it's called, will be available until the 10th of September. So it's not actually out there for that long.
That is, when this episode releases, you only have 2 days in that case to get it.
So if you've not already got it, jump onto the web store because it's going to give you slightly, and I stress slightly, better value. So, boys, what do we think about this bounty ticket?
For me personally, it just adds an extra complication to the game. As somebody who doesn't necessarily play it every single day, clearing spaces every day. Like I miss daily bloody spins on my badges each week. The fact that having to keep things clear for the next day to try and get the benefit of it seems like a faff that's unnecessary for me. I think the rewards, I won't get the rewards for what it's worth by missing 1 or 2 days. So immediately you're not getting the value of it. Would I buy it? No, I wouldn't. Do I think it's a good idea? Yeah, I do. If any player who can commit that time because they either it's part of their career, their jobs, their addiction, their life, whatever it is, I think then there should be a payout for it. We know that Pokecoins are the currency in the game, and it's the one thing, I think they trialled it in Australia once before, didn't they, where you could get like 5 Pokecoins
Yeah, it didn't really go anywhere.
To walk 20 kilometres a day or something. But I like the idea of this for those who will get the benefit of it. So do you know what? I'm not against it because you buy it if you want to buy it. So there you go.
There you go. Tony, what do you think?
I kind of like that they have the option there, and it's really, I think, centered around people that play every single day, because obviously, like he said, like if you miss a couple days, you could lose the value on it. I think one of the big things is if there's any sort of event with the special event 7K eggs, you get an immediate big bonus. Like you get to hatch these extra 10 eggs, which obviously you'd be using those Pokecoins to buy the incubators for it. Then it just becomes a whole circle. But, you know, I think that it's really centered to help some of the like people that like to hatch eggs or like the gift eggs and all that kind of stuff. I think it could be a big opportunity for XP potentially if people are still trying to hit level 50, lining up a bunch of friendships, being able to open so many gifts. You could kind of, get so much XP. Like you put a lucky egg, you have like 40 gifts. Could you imagine 40 best friends in the same day? Like that's millions of XP right there.
Yeah.
If you time it up perfectly, it could help with that. I think those are the 2 big things I'd say. But overall, like the daily coin thing, I think it's cool. I preferred the incubator one where you got just spun a Pokestop, you got 1 incubator, 3 years,
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
that was like honestly the best thing.
Life is too short to send 150 gifts per day. Absolutely agree.
Yeah, that is too
Absolutely
much.
agree.
Words from Sue in the chat there. I agree. This would probably lean towards more hardcore players who can maximize on the value of it, because if you're playing the game every day, you'll make sure that, hey, I have a research task slot free and I can get the Pokecoins and maximize on the value of it. But really, as you said, guys, you don't need to buy the ticket. You're not really going to miss out on anything, because Pokecoins are there to be used as you want them to be used. Some people free to play, and some people like to chuck their entire wallet and bank account at the game. So whether it offers you any value is entirely up to yourself. I think they've trialed this kind of ticket once before, and I think we sort of laughed at it a little bit when the whole thing of, if you don't have a research task slot, you won't get the Pokecoin thing. I think, really, if you buy the ticket, the Pokecoin research tasks should take priority in the daily task, because I would rather get my Pokecoins that I've paid for than compared to 2 pineapple berries for catching 5 Pokemon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it should almost override one, shouldn't it?
Yes.
It should just become, yeah.
100% agree. But I personally wouldn't buy that, just because I don't see the necessary value in it. If I want Pokecoins, I'll get the Pokecoins, but having to be kind of on the ball with it, I'd find a bit stressful.
And I'll round this out. I think the ticket, it definitely offers a reasonable value. It's not particularly amazing. Tony touched on something earlier when he said about the incubator ticket that before, and of course the bog standard incubator is definitely worth more than 20 Pokecoins. So the incubator, yes, only gives you one thing. You can only hatch eggs, but I think I personally would find that more useful. The 20 Pokecoins, yeah, if you don't spend them, you can save them and actually spend them on something that you do want. But I think the big thing here is the gifts. But let's face it, who is going to be sending that many gifts a day?
A certain Australian, I can
Yeah,
think of.
it's nice being able to hold 40 gifts. It's nice being able to open more gifts. But I completely agree with Sue. I do not have time to send 150 gifts in a day. And I won't be doing, let's put it that way.
I forget to send my daily gifts anyways.
Frequently, when there's only, what is it, like 30?
At the weekend,
Yeah,
I got
so-
berated by Mark for not gifting one of our Patreon members. And I am terrible at gifting, so the fact I can
Yeah,
send
but
more...
I was
really-
awful. I was awful.
I
I
was
was
worse
doing it.
My trick is invite me to a raid. That's
That's a different
probably
thing.
a higher
Invite,
likelihood of
problem
me-
solved.
Yeah, higher likelihood to be opening the gift. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Well, inadvertently, you provided rather a nice segue, because obviously, as this episode drops, Phalanx is in formation, or probably
today,
has
isn't
been
it? It's
in
literally
formation.
happening
Yes,
now in the UK.
yeah, which is fantastic. So we won't read through the details because there's literally no point. It would have been happening. There was an increased remote raid pass thing. There was an event ticket and shiny Phalanx to coincide with Generation 8. So, I mean, boys, will you be out doing those 3-star raids as we speak?
Yes.
A little bit, not a lot, to be fair, but no, a little bit, yeah.
Because at least it's a
Not the
3-star.
same level as not as the level as Mega Lucario or like Quasar, but I
Fair.
Yeah.
still to the point where I like Shining Phalanx.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to pick up as many
yeah.
as I can.
Milo brings up a good point. It's a 3-star, so it's technically likely going to be soloable.
Soloable?
I don't want to speak for the people, but if it's one of those ones, if I got the shiny on the first raid, I'd happily not play it ever again. Do you know what I mean? Because there's no point. You don't need loads of shiny Phalanxes, so getting one would be nice. Raid days are special, aren't they? Beauty of a free tier 1 is you can play it however you want.
Yeah.
And you can do it on your own and you can get through it. You can be streaming it all, Tony. You're going to be doing it on a stream.
Oh yeah, half the raid day.
It's great
Straight.
content,
2
isn't it? It's great
Yeah.
content raid days are.
And also be able to get other people raids that might not have as big of a community. I know this one is soloable on that kind of thing, but
yeah.
No, that's a good point. Raid Day is your best shot at Shundo, even if it's a useless one. And I just want to add, I will be doing this. I don't know how long or what condition I'm going to be in to do this one, because, boys, yesterday we went to a certain area to catch a certain Pokemon, and I am going to be exhausted just from the amount of driving. And Mark can probably sympathise based on the community today, but I'm going to be beat during this Raid Day.
Yes, because we would have had a nice trip to some very old stones. But there's nothing wrong with it. You can't really go wrong with a raid day, but this makes me think back to the Hisuian starter raid days. That sort of 3-star raid boss. You will get some of the turnout in the bigger communities that are maybe a bit more hardcore, but as you guys say, if you get the shiny on the first raid, a lot of people might call it quits on that one because you don't need to burn a ton of passes on something like this. So.
You don't, but if you've got the event ticket, I think I would probably use my free passes.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least all those free passes, all that rare Candy XL chance is probably like
True.
the stuff that's worth it, especially with like, the changes in some stuff.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
Like,
Phallic's a nice shiny as well.
Stuff.
It's a beautiful shiny.
It's a very good shiny, to be fair.
And best chance of the Shundo. It happened to me on Kyogre Day, so that's the best way to do it.
It can.
All right, Tony, chill out. Jesus.
Happen.
I had to
Well
drop
done,
it
mate.
in there. I had to drop it in there. First raid too, by the way. First raid.
All right.
Shonda, oh my days. Yeah.
It was a remote raid pass. I screamed my head off.
Mark, if you know Tony's second name, you can see why he's flexing so much.
Oh, I don't know your second name, but well done.
Look on your screen. There's somebody else with that name.
Shiny.
He's wearing a blue t-shirt.
Well, I know this because I know his email.
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
His surname is my first.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, you poor thing, Tony. Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
I knew. I remember seeing that, and I was just like, "It's interesting."
And to show, Milo, you poor thing. Both of you.
It's cool. We've got the same mentality.
Exactly, you've got the
Which
name
is
Milo, you need to
fantastic.
flex everything.
Yeah.
Tony,
Right.
Tony Milo. That's fantastic, Tony.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
There you go.
We love
We
it.
can add a young Zac Efron to the list of things that I don't look like him, by the way.
No. Actually, speaking of Orlando, lateral thinking, Universal Studios, Donkey. Milo looks a bit like Donkey.
Right. Tony, there's something that we can definitely talk about, but these two Muppets can't.
Muppets.
So
That's a bit harsh, Milo. Come on.
I'm feeling ruthless. Ian's triggered me right now, but 2024 and all of that. However, recently there was some update, shall we say, to raid move durations. And Tony, this has massively shaken up the raid meta.
Just definitely put some stuff like that you would think, oh, this is like the best Pokemon in this typing. Just nope, not anymore. Just out of nowhere. Like just being able to shake up stuff like that on the dot is just amazing. I absolutely love it. I mean, I was looking.
wild.
The big one is a paid research. Back in the day, Keldeo is now by far the best fighting type in the game. It's like not even close. It passes.
Is it
Lucario
really?
too and everything?
You're
Yeah.
kidding.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Keldeo.
Keldeo. Well, Keldeo's 1 and 2 because it has 2 forms. It's number 1 and 2.
You're joking.
That little rainbow
Yeah.
goat thing we had to pay for.
Rainbow
Keldeo.
Go. Oh my.
It is. I can tell you right now the exact score. It's above Mega Lucario and Terrakion's number 4.
What?
Just above, just like 1 point above.
So that My Little Pony just waltzes in, and you got Terrakion all big and buff, and like that pony's better than Terrakion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right, let's leave this now. We don't see anything more. It's gone crazy, the game has. This
has
is ridiculous.
gone wild. And
Yeah.
the reasoning for this, and at the point of recording this, we don't know if this is actually 100% meant to be a change or whether it's a bug, or because obviously literally tomorrow for us is when Gen 8 drops and they're starting to drop in Dynamax in like a week's time. So the reason is the raid changes have come off the back of a half-second cycle rule, which is a completely different format to how it used to be. So basically, damage is dealt at a regular 0.5 second interval. So moves generate and consume full energy as soon as they're activated rather than observing the damage start window and end window timers. So it's all a bit technical.
Yeah. And either it gets rounded up or it gets rounded down. So you either get good or you get
Exactly.
bad and then good if you get rounded down.
Now, a quick shout out to GoHub for this article, because otherwise we'd just be talking gibberish probably. But yes, there are some
Goat Hub.
enormous winners.
Goat Hub,
the
yeah.
Goat Hub, fantastic. There are some huge winners in this new shake-up meta and some massive losers. And, well, do you want to talk about the big winner of the electric type meta?
Oh yeah, the big winner. Oh yeah, it's exactly what I was not wanting to talk. No, I'm joking. But Shadow Magnezone is now the best electric type in the entire game, even beating Xurkitree, which is surprising. But what hurts me the most is I had a 15-15-14 shiny Shadow Magnezone that would be super awesome to flex, but now it's a Shundo. It's purified. It's still cool as a
The
Shundo.
Spundo.
But yeah, it's just like it could have been the best of the game, But number 1 electric type, Kyogre would have been much more easier, just real nice. But made the mistake of doing that. But it is what it is. And I guess like on the back of that, the 3 moves that got the biggest buff was, it got a 40%. The reason why it got so good is because Spark got a 40% buff. Like 40% is legitimately like insane. It's like Sucker Punch, Shadow Claw, Metal Claw, and then Spark. Huge buffs, making Dialga one of the best steel types in the game, just base. Just so much. Yveltal is now going to be top 3 in PvP.
Yeah, it would be
right?
huge.
And, like it's
Well, it's a good job that
huge
doesn't
changes.
concern anyone listening to the show. Because,
Well, it will make a difference every time we do the Counter Bro section.
Well,
now,
yeah,
because the meta is going to be
Raiders
so
follows GBL,
different.
yeah.
There were some other big winners, which was Leafage has now had a 40% buff, which means people, and this was tragic considering the meta we gave last week versus Kyogre, Meowscarada, the evolved form of Sprigatito, is a better grass-type raid attacker than Katana.
Yeah.
And can I just say
Minor.
something? And I don't want to sound like I've been that guy, but it isn't just an absolute mockery of Pokemon. What's this achieving? I'm sorry, I can't
I have
get
2
my head
level
around
50
that.
Kartanas.
That's what I mean, I can't get my head around
Bro,
this.
I have 3 hundos and a Shinty 8 lucky. I'm like, what's going on? Well, I need to evolve my hundo Sprigatito
No, you
now.
don't, Mike, because this might be a mistake and it might go back
It
to normal.
could be. It could
True.
be. There's one other move that got a massive buff, which is quite hysterical, which makes me think this could be an error, is Return, the purified move for normal types.
Yeah.
Got a 40% buff. What's an... so if you purified your Regigigas, it'd be insane.
Went all the way up to like to number 1 normal type with
Yeah.
all this stuff too. Yeah, like it's like you don't really use normal types for much, but
No, you're right, but it still buffs it, doesn't it, Tony? If you're thinking
Yeah.
like, I mean, for people raiding, this shouldn't make any difference, should it? Because if you still raid with your groups, you got 4 or 5 people taking down a legendary, you should be okay. Still,
I
with what
think
you've
when it
got.
comes to like duos and stuff, that's where it make the difference, right? Like if
Yeah, absolutely.
like solos and all that kind of stuff. I know people that try to do solos, like for Kartana, for example, with Mega Charizard, could make a little bit of a difference with that kind of stuff.
That's true. And realistically, because this is now embedded in the game, if it's going to stay this way, we'll find out probably in a couple of days if it does, that should affect your recommended. So you should actually start being recommended stuff that's hopefully better than just saying, hey, look, this is the stuff that used to be good and now isn't. But some consolation for you, Tony, is that yes, you may have a Shundo purified Magnezone, but it's still better than Therian Thunderous, which is wild.
Yeah. Magzone normal is just top 10 still. So I'm just going to use it, flex
crazy.
the Shundo, I'm just going to have to do it. I'm just going to have to do it.
Absolutely crazy.
I mean, I know we say we want to keep the game fresh, and all that stuff, but I still can't get my head around Terrakion being out-muscled by a My Little Pony. I find that absolutely... I know you had to pay to get it, so maybe they're trying to add a bit of value to Keldeo, aren't they?
Yeah.
These people that have paid for it need to give it...
That one ticket from wherever it was, 2022 or something.
I think a lot of this
if you
will
had
have
that.
to do with the introduction of Dynamax.
I think you're right, Ian.
I think with that coming in, that changed a lot of the movesets. I think that's what it really was aiming at.
When they come into the game in their format, they are, by definition, bigger and chunkier, aren't they? So they're going to need a lot more power. Oh, you just said, in fact, Tony, you've just hit them down the head. And Ian, sorry, you've hit them down the head as well. The only way you're going to beat them in these times is probably by giving moves that bulk, isn't it? And actually, if certain Pokemon are attracted to that move, then that's like what you've just said. It just shakes the whole meta up, doesn't it, then? You might find that Kartana gets given that move further down the line to balance it back out again, possibly. Good segue in, by the way. Dynamax. What's that all about?
Dynamax is arriving. Well, actually, in a couple of days at the point of this episode dropping. And we do know a few bits, as you said, from the Go Hub article. And we'll top line it because this isn't 100% official information yet. But the first step is there will be power spots. And to get access to power spots, you're going to need to collect 250 max particles or probably buy them, no Niantic. You can obtain those by walk 2 kilometers starting in the new season, and power spots will appear in the game. Power spots are different to gyms and Pokestops, meaning they'll be treated as a completely new spot without overriding existing ones. So Whitfield might be
Wayfarers.
flexing. I live on 7 stars
Yeah.
and 12.
I live on 47 power stars.
Yeah, but he's got to go out and walk them 2 kilometres each time. Ian.
Yeah,
That's
well,
the way it would
that's
be.
fine.
Yeah,
You can do that. Power spots are highlighted with a pink colour and are quite noticeable on the map. And looking at the image on the Go Hub article, they definitely are. They stand out. They look good.
They do. Well, as with everything that's got a step 1, there's also a step 2. And step 2 is you can join max battles, a concept I'm not familiar with, but I think for those who played the main series games, other stuff too, our lives, Milo. But yeah, for those who are familiar, it will make sense. But basically, to join a max battle, you can challenge up to 4 people, including yourself. That'll probably be in person. Each person can bring with them up to 3 Dynamax Pokemon in their team, but they only need 1 participation. Dynamax Pokemon can participate in this max battle, but existing Pokemon are not eligible, so you're going to have to go and get some from what it looks like to start being able to use them. Ian, I think I'm feeling a little bit of pessimistic thoughts about this costing this game to take part in it.
Everything. If you can monetize it, they will.
Absolutely. And then in addition to accessing the power spots, the max particles required can be collected by walking.
And now for step 3, once you find the max battle, you get to do the max battle. And you can do this with 1 to 4 players. It could be soloed, it could be with 4 people, but the maximum is 4. It's not like a normal rate, it's gonna be only 4. And certain stuff is also gonna be a lot different. It's gonna be turn-based rather than just tapping, which is a little bit more strategic, which is interesting. But you also have yourself a max meter where it'll slowly go up, and once it hits the top, you'll be able to Dynamax your Pokemon. But also in that, you have 3 different things that you can do. One is max move, just attacking. You know, in some cases, it just depends on the typing. So one will be max geyser if it's a water type, and then it swaps depending on the type. And then you have 2 other things which you can do, which do require you to be able to unlock them, which you will do just over time with MP, aka, you know, all that kind of stuff. And Max Spirit is one of the things you can unlock, which will also recover HP for you, yourself, and your allies in the raid. So you could heal yourselves up if you guys are tending to struggle with the raid. But you move on to Max Guard, which will just reduce all damage from opponents. So it would literally just be Protect in Pokemon Go, which we haven't had before. So it's something that blocks off damage, which is pretty cool. And there will be a tutorial to teach you how to do it in the battle for the first time. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, which is good considering most things in Pokemon Go don't come with a tutorial at all.
Yeah. It's just
that's
like,
quite unique.
figure it out.
Yes, go wild. Why not? Actually, that's coming up later in the season. But step 4, after the max battle is over, of course, you're given the chance to actually catch the Dynamax Pokemon, which, given the fact you can only use Dynamax Pokemon in Dynamax battles, is kind of a necessity, really. And apparently you only get like 10 Premier Balls to do so. So we'll have to see how that plays. You can place a Pokemon at a power spot. It will help other Pokemon and trainers in battles. When it returns, you will receive a reward based on how helpful it was. So I don't know whether that's something that could help rural players, perhaps. Like you put a Pokemon at a power stop and then it features in a battle with a solo trainer.
That could actually be because in the main series games, the way Dynamax worked is you would have NPCs, quote unquote, right, helping you out if you needed it. So if you leave a Pokemon, that could actually be, I didn't see that part yet. So that's new to me. I mean, if you could leave a Pokemon for somebody to help somebody that's soloing, for example, or like if they missed the raid group.
That would be interesting to see.
Unlikely to happen, but there are some additional Qs and As. I'm just going to very much bullet point these because these might change from it. But it sounds like that they will be registered to a dedicated Pokédex, which is cool. So Dynamax Pokemon will have their own Pokédex. They'll have a unique icon on them so they can be identified at a glance. That should be easy, certainly when you're looking at them as you're scrolling through your Pokemon. And it looks like you get 800 max particles a day. You can't take AR photos of the Pokemon in Dynamax state yet, but they are hoping to maybe add that to a later date. Your max particles are only consumed at the moment of victory, and Dynamax Pokemon will potentially still be shiny, but that's at the encounter capture screen, so not during the battle. It'll be after you. Well, it looks like on the capture screen, you'll see if it is shiny or not. Yeah. And what we've said already, existing Pokemon cannot be Dynamaxed. So, I mean, I don't know this. Like I said before, we spoke a little bit before we took this section. I've never played the main series games around this. I don't know what I know what Dynamax is by visualizing it. I still can't get my head around about how you win a battle. I thought you all wanted to battle it to then all of you capture it. Yeah. And I'm assuming that still happens in this. Yeah, interesting. Big Pokemon. There we go.
Super sass Pokemon.
Super sass.
I mean, AR mode, Snorlax, Dynamax in front of McDonald's sounds like a great idea to me. If that could happen in the future.
Please, we just need the AR plus ability with Dynamax Pokemon. That's what we need. That's
probably Tony why they haven't done it, because they go, this is going to break it.
They just throw out the Pokemon.
I need my Dynamax shiny Wooloo in front of Black Sheep Coffee. It's got to happen.
That's a great idea.
Imagine that, Milo. Imagine that.
It's got to happen. Will you guys have a crack at this sort of thing? Because looking at that article, and that's the first time properly reading through it, I like the idea of potentially being able to drop a Pokemon into a power spot and it helps someone else who maybe doesn't have
Say it. You've not said it for months.
Helping the lower-level trainers.
Lower-level trainers.
I mean...
Or helping the antisocial trainers.
Yes. I'll drive to nearby you, Mark. You drop one in a power spot and tell you where it is, and then you can come back later.
Antisocial, Milo. That's not very nice.
Rural.
Right. Correct. No, I mean, I don't think they're going to do that, but that's a great concept. That's a bit too forward thinking for something that's brand new. But will I be taking part in it, like a bit like the Shadow Raids? Ian and me, Yeah, we'll have a go at a 1-star one, won't we, Ian? We'll have a little go.
I'll try anything once.
Yeah.
That's a great philosophy.
At least I won't get enraged, Ian, like the last ones we tried. Why not? It's something new, isn't it? Like, it sounds like we just got to walk 2 kilometers to make one appear. Why not give it a go?
I mean, at least I like the idea of being able to drop something off. Like me, like as a higher level player, it would being able to help somebody out that's maybe a little bit behind the curve, like or something like that. Like that seems like a really cool thing. And also for those people that don't want to organize or meet up in raid groups or or miss the time for that kind of stuff could be really useful. That definitely seems like something I'm willing to do. And I always like new stuff. So new stuff I'm ready for.
Tony, not going to add that to the game. That's just too helpful. This is for long established players to try something different to keep them interested in the game. They've said that pretty much on it. It's for the longer.
They're definitely trying to make it different. That's for sure. It's
they are
turn-based.
definitely. Obviously, it's a new dynamic. It's going to be quite interesting to see, and also it's going to be interesting to see what bugs we can get from this. So you've got to walk 2K to see these max stops. I'm worried that you're going to drop a Pokemon in to help somebody. The stops are going to disappear at the end of the day, and you'll lose your Pokemon.
Yes.
I'm sure that will happen in a few days' time to a couple of people.
I think it'll.
Hopefully, it won't. Otherwise,
Don't put valuable Pokemon
we look like
in there,
blithering
essentially.
idiots.
Just be
But
safe.
history speaks a lot.
History is there, isn't it, Ian? You can't remove history, can you? It's there.
Can't.
It's
We formed a
always-
whole section of the show around these goofs.
History is always there, but there is something else that is always there. It is time for
Shinies of the week.
And Mama Glass here got a pretty good shiny. I mean, close to getting the Shundo. I mean, a 14, 50, 13 shiny Pidgey. Stuff you love to see. Love it. Shinies in the week. And research providing, too, is always pretty nice. Just random shiny Pidgey out of research.
That's nice.
Pidgey as well, yes.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't
Pidgey's
seen
my favourite
Pidgey from
one.
research. Maybe I just always drop those tasks. But,
It was all about Go Fest, the Pidgey was.
oh, yeah. Yeah, true.
It's the best catch.
And forgot to mention that came from the Campfire group. Join up. But then we move on
Nice.
to X, which we got ourselves Popplio Comde here. 33 shinies, a pretty darn good amount, I'd say. It seems to be the average so far for this year. So it seems like you're just creating great shiny numbers constantly, which is good things to see. And gotta love shiny Popplio just absolutely everywhere. And that was from Nakeem Brown. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. But and we move on to the
Fabulous.
next X post from Pavnoko, W12 Ace. Hopefully I'm saying that right. We got ourselves a huge shiny Xerneas. I love size shinies. It's like one of my favorite things to hunt. So huge shiny Xerneas. I'm definitely not super jealous. I can't even lie.
That's a cool, Paul.
Yeah,
definitely.
Nice.
I've only ever gotten, I think, like, yeah, exactly. That's definitely nice. I'll say that much. I think I've only ever gotten 2 or 3 huge, like, size shinies from raids before. So to get that is super, super cool. Love that. And then from the WhatsApp number, we got ourselves on my way to work at 4:45 from Chris here, and he got a Shundo, just casually on the way to work. Shundo, just casually throw that out there. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. Shinies of the week,
Speechless. Shundo on the way to work.
right? Just like
Casual Shundo.
at that point, like, do you even need to work? No, you're gonna be distracted all day. You're gonna be, let me go check on my Shundo, make sure it's actually there. Like, especially at 4:45, I'm assuming in the morning, right? So if you're heading into work in the morning,
guess
so
so.
yeah, it says 4:45 in the morning. Like, you probably pinch yourself a couple of times. I know I did that with my Elekid. I was like, yeah, make sure I am here.
Is it real?
And just to clarify, it was a Shundo Hisui and Growlithe, which looks absolutely amazing. Great looking shiny.
Oh,
Yeah.
Great
lovely.
shiny. I love that
Great
shiny.
shiny Hisui and Arcanine too. But these 2 shinies here, we got Rogue Trooper with 2 holiday shinies over on the Patreon Discord. We got Marini and Wimpod, 2 pretty rare shinies, especially Marini in that debut event. That was one that I remember running around
that's
for and just
amazing.
like praying during Spotlight. I was like, please shine. Just like, that was
Yes.
definitely one of those ones. Wimpod, just amazing too.
Great shiny,
Yeah,
though.
both great
All good
shinies.
shinies.
Yeah, definitely a noise.
Fabulous.
I'll say the Marini took me a bit to get my I got it in the first hour, but the second one took a little bit.
It took me 60 minutes.
Yeah, that one is, I got really lucky. I remember just getting that. I was like, oh, everybody's gonna hate me for this. 45 minutes into the event.
Oh, did you notice that he went from in the out 45 minutes? Well, actually, it was 60 seconds. Clicked on it and it was like, got in 60 seconds.
And the 2 holiday shinies were on theme for Rogue Trooper. I mean, same color as he was in that Cypress Heat. I mean, I know how it feels being the heat. It's not always fun, but It's good when the shinies
Ooh,
like to
being
match with you.
burnt to a crisp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Those were some amazing shinies. And don't forget, listeners, you can tag us on the X and Instagram social media or even threads. And there's a variety of other methods. And thank you, everybody who does send in those hashtag shinies of the week. But I'm going to throw it over to Cascada to be Game Lord this week. And we're not looking at shinies.
Yes, boys, we're giving Kitty the week off, the reigning champion, because we've got Tony here with us tonight. Yeah, Milo decided, when putting the show notes together, it was time to bring Play Your Dex Right back. And I've themed this slightly because the Gala region has just released. Granted, the Dex is quite small for people playing Go, so if you don't know the main series, this one could prove interesting, shall we say. So,
Be me and Mark.
first up, Masterful 27. Can you tell me, is Blipbug higher or lower than Inteleon?
Don't know what they are. Lower.
Yeah, Inteleon is the evolved form of Sobble, and Blipbug is higher.
There we go.
The more you know.
The more you know. Tony,
Yep.
can you tell me, is Orbeetle higher or lower in the Pokédex than... What should we go for? Rookidee.
Ooh. Route 1 Bug versus Route 1 Bird. I'm going to go Orbeetle's lower than Rookidee.
Correct.
That's cool. I'm happy I got
He
that
knows
right.
their route ones.
And he knows what type they are. I'd have gone.
Well, Rookidee is one of two only flying types in the game. It's a pure flying type.
The more
There you go,
know.
Milo.
Other
That's
one's
how you.
Tornadus. The other one's
So
Tornadus.
Whitfield, no pressure, but if you don't get this one right, Tony wins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Throw it at me, Vasa.
Right. Well,
What have we got?
we know that you live in London, so can you tell me, is Nickit higher or lower in the Pokédex than Squovit?
That's a very appropriate name for Central London at the moment.
Nickit, yeah.
I have no idea where Squovet features in the Dex. I'm going to say that the thief Pokemon, Nickit, is going to be higher than Squovet.
Correct.
A blind shot in the dark.
Correct.
No one saw that going that way, did they, Ian? That was a surprise, wasn't it?
No, Milo didn't play Gen 8, so that was a pure
No.
guess, I'm thinking.
50-50.
Mine knows about the sausage dogs in Gen 9. That's about all he knows, isn't it?
I'm sure Milo didn't even... Did you recognise Fido when I put it into something recently?
I know the Pokemon, I just don't know how it's spelled, clearly.
I'm waiting for Fido to
round
come
two.
into the game. I have
Fido's
two
a
dash
great. I
outs.
love Fido. Yeah.
I have,
Oh,
I have two.
it is your Pokemon then, basically.
dash button. I will shiny hunt that thing to the end
It's
of
a
the world.
cute mon.
I will do it. Need two of them.
Okay, so Tony, back to you.
Okay, pressure's on.
Tell me, is Chootle higher or lower in the Pokédex than Yamper?
Ooh, Choodle, Yampa. Yeah, we got the doggo, we got the turtle. I'm gonna go for. I'd say it's lower than Yamper. Yes. Okay. I was like, oh no.
There you go.
I love shiny Choodle. I was like, if I mess that up, Dreadnought's really early in the game, so it's got to be Choodle being lower.
I say it again.
These
Good luck,
names
Milo.
are just
Yeah.
straight over. I look forward to them coming to Pokemon Go eventually.
It goes green in the shiny. That's all you need to know.
Green shinies are good.
Okay, so Whitfield. Earlier in the show, I said that you look like Donkey from Shrek. Tell me, is Mudbray
That's not in the Gen 8 Dex, I'm sure.
is Mudbray higher or lower in the Pokédex than Wooloo?
Ooh, two farm animals. I think Mudbray might be lower than Wooloo.
I've lost it now on my list.
Even Ian doesn't know the answer.
I did, and Mudbray is higher.
Oh, I actually thought he got it right. I can't even lie. I was convinced.
Less of that, Tony. Don't give him that thought and that hope.
Right.
Yep. Mudbray, according to this, it has a Galadex entry of 84. Wooloo
Yeah,
is
Wooloo's
lower
probably
than that.
early
It
on.
has a Dex entry of
17.
scrolling 34 for the Galadex.
Poor Milo. Good
There we
effort,
go.
Milo.
Yeah.
He's
So,
all right.
Granted, not
Two
the
answers.
Go Dex, but
50-50.
the Galadex.
Well, there we go. The man who knows a bit of Gen 8, I think rightfully won.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I do as well. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations. Tony TM temporarily can take the crown of Game Lord.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Actually, those are Pokemon names that we'll see eventually in Pokemon Go anyway, so we'll finally work out what they are. But now, it is time to find out where the results of the poll,
Just tell me about you, mate. Just what's going on?
where the results of the poll actually came from. I think I was having a conversation with somebody about what colours and things that different animals can actually see, or what type of vision they have. And I was thinking, is there anything that we would like to see differently in the world? So, boys, this is a bit random, but if you could view the world in a particular photographic or cinematic or visual style or theme, what would you choose? And you can reference a movie or photography style or a cinematic genre if you fancy it. And since there was a little bit of prep time for this one, Tony, kick us off with this one.
I mean, that's a really interesting way. I guess there's a couple ways you could do about that. I feel like maybe being able to see a little bit like panoramic, a little bit more to the side could be pretty cool. But in terms of like a cinematic universe, I just got to go with the classic Marvel. I feel like anything in a Marvel cinematic view would just be really, really cool looking. I don't know. Just adds intensity to anything.
It's just intense color palette.
Tony sees the world through spatial rent. Yes, that's actually perfect. Just spatial rent. Be able to see more around me.
That's very true.
Right. Just always.
I'm sure there are animals that have like much wider field of view.
Yeah, I'm sure. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of a few, but I'm sure there's a few that could see a little bit further, like along the sides, like maybe, even just like, I don't know, being able to turn your head around just like 360, like an owl or something, like just
owl vision.
Yeah.
That very well might have been a good contender, but Marvel Cinematic Universe is option number one.
Yeah, it's gotta be. It's got it.
Marky, are you going to pick a rural animal vision?
Very predictable, Milo. Unlike Tony, I had no prep on this because I only printed them off this evening before I came to start the show. And I'm pleased you explained it a little bit better, Milo, because I didn't understand quite what your question meant when I read it on paper. So thank you.
It sounds
for
better
clarifying
than it reads.
The question. I focused more on the cinematic type, like photographic type of style of a photo, cinematic type of cinematic films that could be produced, and visual being the bit you mentioned about animals and how they see. So that's kind of where I went with it. So I've gone for a cinematic theme.
Okay.
I think with how crazy the world actually is, a silent movie would be quite funny because it would take away a lot of the unnecessary noise that goes with the chaotic actions of many people on this planet. However,
road rage would look very comical.
Road rage would be very comical. However, I've plucked mockumentary out of the air. Mockumentary is obviously the depiction of fictional events presented in the form of a documentary, but I actually think it could be quite funny creating that sort of mockumentary style on some actual events as well, but presenting it as a documentary. So you're playing it back in a condensed form so we can just see it, get the bit of it, get a gist of it, go, right, life's not enough time to do normal stuff, is it, Tony? You'll agree with me. Life's chaotic, it's busy. Let's squeeze it into a sample size.
You're streamlining.
Always condensing into a mockumentary. So I download it all, boom, understand it, right, move on. Brilliant, done. So
maybe better than mine.
No, not at all, mate. Yours is kind of like yours.
Condensed mockumentary. That's an interesting way of taking on the question, actually. I wouldn't ever have thought of that. Now, Vasa, I don't know why, but I'm expecting a certain franchise to be mentioned.
I know what you expect. I'm not going to go that way. Kind of, a little bit. I would like to see the world in 65mm film stock, which has got a perfect, beautiful grain and is still a nice, vivid colour.
I like that, Ian, actually. I can visualise that as well.
I almost went sepia, but then I thought no, because they're so beautiful place that you really don't want to lose the colour of. So, yeah, I'll go with 65mm film stock.
Sepia is just kind of one.
Yeah, it's just like sort of an orangey, sort of faded tone.
Like Fujifilm green, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah.
I guess it's interesting getting some very different options, which I really like. And a couple from the chat, we've got Sue says, I'd like to see the world in a Wizard of Oz type Technicolor, all bright, cheerful colors as far as the eye can see. And yeah, Francesco and a certain other man from Florida, JT, have probably collaborated on this, said fisheye lens.
Brilliant.
Would you want to see the world in fisheye permanently?
I would not.
That would just be...
I would not.
No,
thank you.
It would play havoc with motion sickness.
They're high on mozzarella right now, Tony, more than likely.
No, Francesco can't eat mozzarella at the moment.
I've got to say some good mozzarella, that's for damn sure.
Vegan mozzarella, Ian.
You don't know what goes into that. That's to be fair.
Yeah, anything vegan is banned from this show.
We've got Barside 2. It says beer goggles. You could do that. I challenge you, Barside. Start the Generation 8 season wearing beer goggles.
Honestly, not a bad video idea.
Some things look better
all
with
day in beer
goggles.
goggles.
I've got to admit,
Yeah.
I
You could
would
have
struggle,
that.
but
You could
Usually
have
about 1 o'clock in the morning in a crowded venue.
beer goggles definitely improve
You don't need
some
goggles
things in
for
life,
that.
don't they?
could be engineered, no goggles necessary. But the thing I was thinking of when this question popped into my head is kind of how flies have like weird like hexagon vision and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Don't they? They have refined conversations in Ealing.
I don't know why this cropped up, genuinely. I really don't know why it cropped up. I think I was talking about the dog that's here and what colours like dogs see. They only see like 3 different colours or something along those lines.
yeah, like yellows and blues.
Yeah,
Stuff
something like that. So it got me thinking, so I'd like to amp up the color on what you can see in the world. And the way to do that is a photography style called high dynamic range. HDR basically is amping up all kind of colors, contrast, and sharpness to the absolute maximum. So it almost starts to look like a cartoon.
I don't think anything looks like that, does it? Anything can view the world in that style, can they? So that'd be quite cool.
You won't have heard what Vassar just said, but trust me,
It was funny.
the gold and silver patrons will be having a riot on the back of what you mentioned. But yeah, I'm going to go with high dynamic range, which, Mark, you could have shortened for HDR.
Well, there'll be some of the acronym queries going, what's HDR?
Most people will be going HDR 65mm. They've got no idea. They'll go for Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slam dunk. Absolutely.
Yeah, I chose the fan favorite, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little bit of a chat the weekend before this comes out. So last weekend, we had a community day. It was right at the end of August. It was, of course, Popplio Community Day, completing the starters. We all travelled up to G-Town, yes, Grantham, Ian's hometown, which was very pleasant. We had the Incensed crew there. We had I Am Prius, he came along. We had Dell join us as well from the Ealing community. And we had someone else from Florida who kind of tagged in. Yeah, TJ was it or something? I can't remember his name, but
TJ Mystic, was it?
TJ Mystic. No, we had JT Valor with us as well, and we had lovely people travelling all around the UK to come and join us.
Not just the UK. We had one person come all the way from Sweden.
Yeah, I haven't finished yet, Ian. Still talking about the lead up to it. But anyway, we had some lovely people from all around the UK that people that listen to the show come and join us. And we also had international people from Europe, or person from Europe who came and joined us. Barside, a familiar name for some of our listeners, if not most of them, coming over from Sweden. We had a great time, and I think it was quite nice to have a little break after the live season. I might as well start. How did I play it? How did it go? Well, I kind of followed everybody else in terms of playing it. So if you haven't checked out all the content created on YouTube across all of our channels, you'll probably see the same story from very different lenses and different things. I've got more shiny as I normally would do. I think I finished with 19 shiny Popplio, so very happy with that. Couple of hundos. I don't want to rinse and repeat. GC was able to power up one, but I didn't do it yet. I want to save the Stardust up to level 50 and put the signature move on it as well. So enjoyed it, thoroughly great time. It's nice to do something different. And it was just nice to have various accents all around us. My highlight from the whole event was as we were walking down the high street to I think maybe the first hundo, someone shouting out of their car as they drove by, Pokemon GO's dead.
For real.
But no, it was fun. But Tony, breaking up the Grantham story just for a moment. What about you, mate? How did you play it?
Well, we went to a local meetup for the start of the event, which was fun. We just walked around, of course, as many Popplos as we could. And then we hopped in the car for about an hour, was just going, if any hundos were called out, we would go to our favorite clusters, like kind of in between. The first half was kind of just like favorite clusters, hundos, and all that stuff. And then, the highlight of my day came while we were doing that. I got a shiny Nundo Popplio, which was sick. I was just out of nowhere.
No way.
Yeah. Out of nowhere. I've only had 2 of those. Other ones on Fennekin Calm Day, which was just
I've only had
amazing.
2. I've not had one of them yet.
You do sound like Milo, Tony.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry.
Like Milo.
It was the second one, but it was just a random moment. I just remember screaming. I was just like, "Did you guys catch the Nundo? Like, make sure to catch it." Like, it was just a fun day. I caught a bunch of hundos, and then ended up streaming the second half of it. Ended up with 48 shinies. One of them being a shiny 98 Xerneas from a random raid right after the event, which you love to see.
Nice.
Not a single 3-star though. I will say that. Not a single 3-star shiny Popplio.
All right.
Outside of one trade.
Well, I hope not, Tony. If you've got so many hundos.
True. Yeah, it was, I think, 3 hundos, 3 hundos, something like that. So it was a decent amount.
Nice. That's a productive community day.
Yeah.
we
Oh, I
approve.
forgot the 2 tiny shinies too. How can I ever get that size shiny hunting?
You've got to love a tiny
Tiny
shiny.
shiny.
Yeah, especially with a small mon like Popplio, it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, you guys came up here. It was actually quite nice to have a bit of a squad because generally on a community day, a lot of the time I will just, because I'm filming the YouTube, I'll just go out and just sort of do it on my own. Lovely to actually just spend the day. I worked out that my day was probably just as long and involved as your lots. It wasn't particularly shiny. I think I struggled. I only got about sort of 15, 16 shinies in the whole thing. So nowhere near Tony's numbers, nowhere near Milo's numbers. And actually, I think you even got more than me, Mark. But I always say, how many do you actually need? I got 1 3-star shiny. The rest were all dead. So most of them are going to be transferred, if I'm honest. Yeah. It was nice to go to sort of get a meal afterwards. And the funny thing is, Milo's video went live before mine did because he decided to edit whilst we was having
I
dinner.
saw the sociable pictures of people with headphones on around the dinner table here, and I did notice that. That was Milo's just like, shut up, Mark.
Me and the mysterious man from Florida had the same mindset.
Yes. Ian, I know you haven't finished your answer. Can I just ask you something?
Absolutely.
Because I like fun facts. I wanted to include this when I was up there. I never mentioned it. But do you know what Grantham Town's nickname is in the football?
No. And I should do because the building I worked at for 6 years is straight opposite their stadium. But no, I don't.
The only reason I mention it is because one of my customers, you won't mind me saying it, grew up in Grantham. And we were having a bit of a chat, and he was telling me about it. And the reason I mentioned it is it's actually quite a fun name. But they are called the Gingerbreads.
Oh, I did know that.
At Grantham Town.
Yeah, actually,
FC.
I didn't know it. I did know it, but I didn't know
What?
it.
Yeah, and the origin education on the podcast, Tony, you'll remember this forevermore, and you'll be able to tell all your friends in Florida this. But the origin of the nickname dates back to the 18th century when a local baker that lived in Grantham was trying to make a traditional biscuit for travellers, a bit like, something that's got energy and that in it. But he mixed up the ingredients and invented a new gingerbread snack, which became popular. And that is why the football club's called the Gingerbread Men, or the Gingerbreads. But I wanted to put that on my vlog, Ian.
That
but
was
I forgot to
interesting.
do
I
it.
know we don't talk about ginger anymore on this podcast, but that was interesting.
Also, was that the starting rule for the? Well, was it they had to be ginger to join?
I just heard he mentioned it to the Gingerbreads. I've never heard anything as interesting as that. But yeah, sorry, Ian, carry on. I digress.
Where do we go from that? Yeah, it was a good fun day, and it was the first of 3 consecutive travel weekends for the Incensed podcast. So, looking forward to the next 2.
Couldn't agree more. And it was really nice to be back in G-Town, and we hadn't been there since November of 2021.
Actually, you hadn't been there sober, Whitfield.
But you weren't drunk though.
No, we weren't hungover this
You weren't
time
hungover,
either.
so-
Big shout out to Dwayne, who drove, or a lot of us, up from
Squashed
London.
4 extra passengers in that car, which was
Yes, absolutely.
a
So we all
monumental
squeezed
task.
in and trekked up somewhat to the Midlands. But the crowd there was fantastic. Again, thank you so much, everybody who joined us. We had Pav Noko joined us, Dom the Ragnarok, Darby Russ, Oscar joined us
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Nylandic.
Yeah, obviously, Barside 2, who just come off the back of Worlds.
Yeah,
decided
so many
to
people
fly
travelling to
over.
come and see us. It was nice. It really was nice,
It was actually a really, really fun day.
especially considering
and,
it's a small town here.
Yes, absolutely. A couple of hundos was really, really nice from the local crew to shout out and trek around the backside of our hospital
Yeah,
to go
and
and get
Asda.
one of them. And an Asda. Your Asda is very productive for those
My
4
Asda
stars.
does get some good mons. I've said it before on my vlog. My Asda does get some good mons there.
It really does. It was mildly amusing and also reasonably saddening to hear of Ian's poor shine alert for, what was it, like 40 minutes or
It was
something?
41, 42 minutes before I got the first shiny.
Yeah, it took a long time for him to get a shiny, because by the time he had one, I had nearly 20 in under an hour. I don't know what, Popplio, the sea lion, just decided, do you know what? I'm going to be very
And I was
sparkly
checking
for you."
everything, just as we all do.
You would check
it's
everything I
just RNG.
was.
It's just bad sometimes.
Crazy. I mean, I was catching everything mega down. Just wanted to get as much XL candy as possible and chuck some lucky eggs on because why not? And it was thoroughly enjoyable to hang out with the community. Lots of jokes, lots of japery of the three of us, sort of all or four of us all collabing on videos, which was fantastic. 3 stars, but out of after the actual extra hours of having done some raids to get some lure spawns and extra Popplio while having a bite to eat at the lounge, which is great. I think it ended up with 51 or 52 shinies.
Yeah, because I think you
That's
went
lounge,
into that
did you,
with,
Milo?
Yeah, we did.
You went into it with 45,
the
didn't you?
lounge.
Then we did some
I
raids
ended
afterwards.
with 40. I ended with 46 in the 3 hours, and then totaled up with an extra couple of raids.
Guys, I need some help here, right?
Okay.
So when I was driving back from Grantham, I stopped off at a service station. I was at the service station at about 7:15, and there was a Pokestop on the service station. So a Pokestop showcase on it, right? The area was full with Popplio, right? So it's 7:15 at night, 2.25 hours after Community Day's finished. There's no gym in any proximity to where I am. And I put the screenshots on X to show it. And all the Popplios allowed me to catch them. And I got a couple of extra shiny ones in them. And I caught them all with timestamps between just before 7 and 7:15 at night. Why did that happen? Because someone said something about, oh, well, what's happened is that the gym that was there's turned, or the Pokestops.
Yeah, if somebody had
should
done a
be a
raid, but
gym
if there
or-
was no gym there, then that can't be it.
That's what I mean. There was no gym there. And I said the screenshots on X that I posted. What was that about? I mean, they didn't extend it, did they, for any reason? It wasn't extended, was it, Popplio Con Day?
No, because I could see that. I mean, a gym with a raid has to have been completed within 300 meters. So I don't know if there was a gym somewhere around at all.
Not at all.
'Cause that's very
what-
weird.
I mean, I was gonna say maybe he took my spawns because I remember I took out a raid, one of the extra raids, and I didn't get any spawns, which was really weird. First time that's ever happened to me.
So you've experienced that as well?
I took out a raid, just no spawns.
That's curious.
Because the cell here hasn't worked with those extra raids since Chespin.
Oh, okay.
Ever since then, this cell that I'm in doesn't get them. If you go outside of the cell, works perfectly fine.
I think it might be just certain areas, maybe certain gyms it doesn't work because we did 3 and 2 of them didn't work. Me and my fiance,
very
we
odd.
just like took them out. The first one worked. They were like, oh, okay, cool. Walk to the next one. Didn't work. I was like, okay then.
That is very weird.
strange.
I don't know whether it's maybe a gym somewhere nearby hasn't loaded in for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That's kind of what I
Could it
thought
be
it
That
might
might
be.
be it.
the gym under construction glitch that sometimes happens.
Well, he's not trying to interact with the gym, but I just wonder whether, like, I don't know, the game hasn't loaded something that is actually there, which happened to have a Brion raid on it. I
Yeah,
mean,
because you'd have thought that being at a service station, it would be either be as likely as unlikely someone would have actually done it, or because you'd have
Yeah.
needed 2 or 3 to do it anyway, wouldn't you? Being a 4-star, whatever it is. Is it a blue egg raid boss?
the
isn't it?
epic.
The epic ones, yeah.
Epic.
But if anything, Marley, your cell is not the loneliest cell in the world now.
Exactly.
There's another cell that doesn't
There are
spawn.
more like us here in Ealing who for some reason have a dead cell when it comes to those extra spawns. But I think we all had a good day, and it seems that a lot of people had some really good luck on this one. So shall we score this out of 10?
Hey, for me, it's about the day. It's about the experience. Popplio is all right. I don't like the middle stage. Something about Popplio's middle stage, it just doesn't feel right.
Brion, yeah.
Yeah, don't know what it is, but I do like the shiny variants after. But in G-Town with you boys, with the community, and for that reason, being somewhere different, I actually enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a really, really solid 8. Being up there with you guys was a 10. Popplio was probably a 7 in terms of the event, so probably an 8 overall.
Tony, what about you? It's got to be good points with the Schnundo.
Yeah, I was gonna say the shiny Nundo by itself probably carries most of it, but also tiny shinies. I'd say just like the little interaction that we had with the community, with the friends and stuff that I played with, and then interacting with chat. I'd probably say it was probably an 8.5. Definitely going to be a higher rating than the Ponytail one in a few weeks' time. But I'd say the shiny popped a lot more in Go than it did the main series game for me.
Yeah,
I feel like Go does that sometimes
definitely.
with certain shinies, even if they're a little bit dull, it just pops with the background a lot better. I was a big fan. Probably 8.5 to 9 is probably the range where I'd put it.
I'm going to go along the same lines as Mark. If it was Popplio on its own and there was no other sort of factors involved, it wouldn't score as highly as I'm going to score it. I'm going to give it an 8 purely because it was an okay mon. The evolution, it gets better as it goes on. It is a nice navy, but it does turn a lot better as it moves through the evolution line. It was great to have the people up hanging out with it. It was great to spend the day with you guys. And just because of the overall experience, yeah, it's going to be an 8. It's going to be an 8 for me.
There we go. And I thoroughly enjoyed the whole day and the whole experience with the road trip up there, dinner, the shinies and the community that were there. Really enjoyed it. And for that, I've got to give it a 9 out of 10. Not necessarily just due to the Pokemon, but the whole vibe and everybody there. It was a real good laugh.
It was.
That's for sure. Cheers to hopefully some more in the next couple of weeks. In fact, talking about the next community day, it is time. 60-second timer. Tony, you're up. Ponyta, go.
Ponyta. You don't get one, you get two Ponytas. You get the Galarian and the normal one, but they learn the same move on Saturday, September 14th. Now, this is going to be 2 to 5 local time. You can do the extra raids to get yourself some extra stuff if that's what you need, or if you miss the time. But Wild Charge is going to be the move. It's going to be pretty good. It is pretty good in PvP, so this will probably move up Ponyta just a little bit. You could buy the $1 ticket to get yourself tons of premium items if you want to. You could also go to campfire events. Low bonus, but the bonuses are 2 times catching for Pokemon and 3 times Stardust. So get your Stardust, power up the stuff. Probably not powering up the Ponytas, but power up, your legendaries and stuff like that. And then you got, again, the bonus raids, the 4-star raids to get extra spawns. And best of luck at the Pokemon showcases, because we're probably not gonna have tiny ones, just huge ones. So catch the big, Ponytas.
The big boys.
Catch the giant horses.
All the big girls.
Not the small horses, the big horse. You got the horses in the back,
I like how we just call you on the spot like that. And professional. Love that. Well, Tony, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic having you here. We're going to give you the floor in a second or two. But before we do that, it's always a staple part of our show's requirements. We don't tell you this when we give you the transcript before you join us, because you might not want to come on if you know the terms and conditions of said appearance fee.
The TOS.
I'll say no fee, I should say appearance. But Tony, we've enjoyed having you on. Would you want to come on again in the future? Drag you on? You up for that?
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely at any point, if you guys need anything, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Brilliant. So what's that, Ian? Is that a
verbal contract?
Verbal contract.
Verbal contracts with witnesses.
File that in the cloud. Is that how we do it? It's in the sky.
It's recorded. There's no getting out of this one.
Yeah. It's locked in. It's locked in.
But no, Tony, thank you so much for joining us, like I've just said before. But now we're going to give you the opportunity. For those, they probably already follow you. I hope they do. But for those who don't, they've listened to the show, go, God, Tony's a fantastic guy. Tony, share all your social media platforms you're on.
So I post mainly on YouTube and Instagram, and they're technically 2 different names. But over on YouTube, it's Tony TM Pokémon, right? So you just look up Tony TM Pokémon, not TM Pokémon. I don't know if I would pop up, maybe, I don't know, but make sure to put the Tony part in there. Don't forget that. But you also got Instagram. It's the Shiny King PGO. So that's what I go over on Instagram. There's some underscore. There you go. So just the _ Shiny _ King _ PGO. And those are 2 best ways to view my content if that's something you guys are interested in. And yeah, just doing my thing, posting daily, all that kind of stuff.
You are now, was it 2 years straight? Is it, mate?
Daily videos. Going on 3.
Which is wild. And thank you very much for taking your time out of that daily content grind to come and have a joke and laugh around with us. It's been an enormous pleasure.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, dude, it was a great time. I really appreciate all you guys.
And that brings us to the end of episode 187. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Tony, for joining us. That's pretty much it. Please ensure that you follow us on all of our socials, X, Instagram, Threads. You can send us a WhatsApp message, a voice message, please, on +44 759 269 5696. And also, you can contact us old school by emailing us at contact@incensedpodcast.com. But that is going to do it for another week. We will catch you next week.
And before you go on, we got some good news.
What?
We got Spotlight Hour. We got ourselves Dupida, which is just, Dupida, or however you want to say it, is just an absolutely amazing shiny. It's purple. It's little Spider-Man. He's got a little helmet on. And the bonus for the Spotlight Hour is also a pretty good one, as we got ourselves 2 times Stardust. You get ourselves a lot of Stardust. Ponyta 3 times, 2 times for Dupida. A lot of catching going on.
Wow. The dust. You guys.
The week of dust.
Brilliant.
Oh, yeah, great.
And on that bombshell, we'll catch you next week.